Hey guys, this is Twisted Messes. I'm over here at Vape Capitol Studios today. We're going to be filming some tutorials. I'm going to start at the very basics, and we're going to build our way up to give a foundation, everything that you need to get started to build. And for this first build, I'm just going to go through how to twist some wire. And I just want to show that anybody can build coils as long as you're interested in it. So we're going to start with some 26 gauge anarchist wire. Just going to pull some off here and clip it off. And the most important thing when you're twisting up wire is to get it straight first, so that you have both of the wires completely aligned and you can get a really tight twist. So to straighten the wire, just want to get it into the jaws of the drill. Grab it with some pliers on one end and twist it up. Then you hold the other end, let go, and you got a nice straight piece of wire. Now I'm just going to cut this in half. And so I find a balance point there, so I know exactly where the center is. Just going to stick those back into the chuck of the drill. Grab the ends with pliers. I'm just going to twist this until it breaks. It gives you a nice, even, twisted piece of wire. All right, and once you have the wire twisted up, it's time to just go ahead and build a coil with it. My preferred diameter for the coil itself is going to be a 2.4 millimeter bit. And so I prefer to wrap these coils freehand. And so you have your piece of twisted wire, which is totally uniform. If your wire has kinks in it, or it's not perfectly even the first time, you just want to cut off the parts that are kinked up. And so for this coil, I'm going to do a 6 wrap. And so on that first bend, you want to make sure that you're holding this wire straight. And then the first wrap around, you just kind of want to bend it back a little bit. And then just keep going around. And you'll notice that the wire that I'm wrapping around, I'm not holding a lot of tension on it with my hands. I'm just letting it freely go where it wants to go. There's 5. That's 6. And I'm going to do one extra wrap here. Just because that first wrap doesn't usually turn out very well. So I'm going to flip it around. And then all you do is just pull off that first wrap. That way we have a nice, even coil. I'm going to go ahead and use these straight snips from the Twisted Messes kit. Clip that off, set it aside, and wrap up with the other coil, just the same way that I just did. Add an extra wrap. Flip it around. You can line your coils out to make sure you have the right number on there. Looks good. And a really cool tool in the kit is the Hex Driver. Because I'm sure if you guys have used Allen wrenches before, you know it's kind of a difficulty to build with. So the cool thing about this driver is I actually prefer it to a Phillips head or a flathead, because it sets right in, and then that's not going anywhere. You don't have to worry about it slipping out. So to mount this in, the way that I prefer to do it is this underhand lead to go into the negative post. And then I actually just push it over to the center. You can pull that lead to get it tight. Tighten down the positive post. And then just pull to get it tight. Tighten down the negative post. Then you can actually just pull on the coil itself, push it over, and kind of get it where you want to have it. Then you just do the same thing on the other side. And clip off this negative lead. And you'll notice this other positive lead's coming through. The best way to get rid of that is to lift this coil up out of the way a little bit. Tighten it down real good. Grab it with some pliers and just break it right off. And after you do that, you want to double check to make sure it's still nice and snug on this side. Sometimes it loosens up a little bit. Double check all the leads, and we're ready to dry fire. And you just want to do short pulses at first, because you're going to have some hot spots in these coils. And these are ceramic tweezers. They're non-conductive, so they allow you to pinch the coils while you're dry firing it. It's not going to short out your coils. And these are available in the Twisted Messes kit. And then to help get the hot spots out, heat it up until it's glowing a little bit. Let go of the button, stick your screwdriver in there, and just wiggle it around. And you can actually strum the coils a little bit, which helps get the remainder of the hot spots out. And then turn up the power just to make sure there are no hot spots. Still a little one here. That looks good. Well, there you have it. There's a twisted 26 gauge dual coil. And now, before we wick this up and vape it, it's important to check the resistance. And so depending on which device you're using, the resistance is going to have a varied importance. So let's just go ahead and throw it on the ohm reader here. This is the ohm reader that comes with the Twisted Messes build kit. And go ahead and screw it on. Flip it on, and there's a 0.26 ohm resistance. And so if you're using a mechanical mod, and if you're just starting out with vaping, I wouldn't recommend using a mechanical device. I would get a regulated device, which I'll kind of go over in a second here. But with a mechanical mod, the way it works is when you press the button, it completes the circuit. There's no circuitry in here, there's no protection, so it's all based on what that battery can handle and what your build is drawing from the batteries. So with a regulated device, it's going to go ahead and read the resistance for you, and it has protection built into the device itself, so it's not going to allow you to do anything dangerous. The chip itself is creating all the power in the circuit, and it's not going to allow the batteries to be overdrawn. If there's not enough power, it's going to say check batteries or check resistance. So if you're just starting out vaping, I would recommend getting a regulated device just to be on the safe side of things. So if you are using a mechanical mod, you're relying completely on that battery itself. So let me just go over real quick how to calculate the amp draw. So on a fully charged 18650 battery that most mechanical mods use, you're going to have 4.2 volts. Now there's something called Ohm's law, And there's an Ohm's Law calculator app that you can just download from the Play Store. And it's going to do all these calculations for you. But the way that it works is you take your voltage and you divide it by your resistance. So in this case, we had a 0.26 for the resistance. So 4.2 divided by 0.26 is going to give us 16.15 amps. So you need to make sure that your batteries are at least 16 amp batteries if you're going to be using mechanical mod for this device. But like I said, I would recommend using some sort of regulated device that has some protection built in, just for safety reasons. And unfortunately in the vape industry right now, there's no real standard for batteries, so it's a good idea to do research on your batteries and figure out exactly what they are and what the amp limit is on those batteries. And a good rule of thumb is, regardless of what the battery says, the maximum you want to be calculating for is 30 amps. All right, now we're going to wick this up. Just got the scissors from the Twisted Messes kit. Just unfold like that. And I've got some organic Japanese cotton. To wick this, I'm just going to cut off a strip. And what I like to do is rip it in half, but these things are 3 layers. There's a center layer there too. And I want 2 wicks that are exactly the same size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split that central layer as I pull this apart. I like to just roll it up, twist one end, cut the tip off at an angle, just so it's easier to get through. Slip it through, grab both ends and support it and just pull it through. And you want it tight enough to where if you pull on this, it's not going to just come out, but you can, with a little bit of force, pull it through. I'm just going to cut these long ends off. So I just pull it down towards the base, cut it flush, do the same thing on the other side. And just tuck that cotton in. And you want the cotton to come down so that it just comes down and touches the bottom of that juice well. I can tell this one's going to be a little bit too long, so I'm just going to snip off just a tad here on the end. And then just tuck it in. It's ready for some juice. I like to just put a couple drops on the coils themselves and then fire it for just a second. It sucks it right in there. Just do it again until the cotton's fully saturated. All right, so when I was building it, it ended up being a 7 wrap instead of a 6 wrap, which is just fine. It's gonna vape just the same. Turn that power down a little bit. There we go. So that's the basic, very basic concept on how to twist up the wire, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you to Vape Capitol Studios. Let's give this a shot.